Going on, everybody? Welcome back to the number one sports YouTube channel in the world. Tonight, the U.S. men's national team plays Mexico in the seventh game of the World Cup qualifying for next year. I'm going to give you guys my prediction and talk about who I think should be in this starting lineup. Let's get right into it. Tonight, going into this game, Mexico's first in the standings. They have 14 points. They've won 4 games, they've tied 2, and they've lost none. The U.S. is right behind them in second place with 11 points. The U.S. has won 3, they've had 2 ties, and they've had 1 loss. If you look at the roster for the U.S. men's national team, you could argue it's better than it's ever been. They got a bunch of guys that play on high-level European teams. They got a few guys on the roster that are MLS superstars or all-stars, you could say. But that's nothing new. So going into tonight's game, after looking at who is on the roster, because there's always, a lot of guys that get brought in for these games, but a lot of times none of those guys even play. So I'm going to give you guys who I would start tonight if I was Berhalter, if I was the head coach. The goalie situation, let's start off with that. You have a bit of a dilemma there because Turner did so well earlier in the year, but Stefan in the past has done more over his career, you could argue. With that being said, though, I'm going to go with Turner tonight just because I think he's had more game experience this year. In the back, I'm going to have both Robinsons playing. Obviously, being at Fulham and Atlanta United, they've both done well. They both have done well for the men's national team this year. They have a lot of minutes, a lot of caps. I like both those guys in the back. Usually you'd have Des playing on the flank in the back as an outside back. He's not on this roster, so I'd go with Yeldon tonight and then Richards with Robinson in the middle. So in the back, I'll go through that one more time. The U.S. plays a 4-3-3 usually. So in the back, you'd have Turner in goal, Robinson at left back, or right back, I should say. The other Robinson center back with Richards, and then Yeldon as another outside back. So Robinson, Yeldon outside backs, Robinson and Richards as the center backs. So let's move up to the midfield. I'd have McKennie, Adams, and Musa. You have a triangle in there. I think those 3 are by far the best midfielders on this list. Now we go to the forwards. I go Pepe centrally with Aronson and Pulisic out wide. If Reyna was playing, you'd probably have him out there. But again, Aronson's done well for this team, so I think, you got to give him the nod tonight. I don't see who else you could play up top with this roster. I know Berhalter absolutely loves Paul Arriola. I wouldn't be surprised somehow if Arriola got the start tonight. He seems to always get the start when he plays for Berhalter. But the roster and the 11 that I just named, in my opinion, are the best. It's the clear starting lineup the U.S. men's national team should go with tonight. With that being said, Mexico's very good. It's going to be a tough game. If you look at the odds for tonight, the U.S., even though it's at home in Cincinnati, is a plus 187. Mexico, a plus 170. So a bit better odds with Mexico. And then a tie would be a plus 210. I'm going to go ahead and say this is a tie tonight, to be honest. I could see it being a 1-1 type game, maybe even 0-0. It's the first game back for both these teams as they try to qualify for the World Cup coming up. And I could just see it being a tie for some reason. I think, both teams have a lot of talent. They're both missing, a couple of guys. Like I said, the U.S. isn't going to be able to have Reyna or Desk. Both those guys would probably be starting. And Mexico, I'm sure, has a couple of key guys out as well. But at the end of the day, you got to play and try to compete for some points. I see each team walking away with 1. But, guys, maybe I'm wrong. I want to hear what you think in the comments, how this game will go. I want to hear who you guys would put as a starting lineup for the U.S. men's national team. But that's my starting 11 if I was Berhalter. and I think it's going to end in a tie. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll make a reaction video after the game like I usually do. But until then, go USA. Let's get 3 points. Hopefully I'm wrong. I think it'd be great to be tied for first after this game in the standings with Mexico. Because if they win, they'll be right up there at number 1, qualifying for the World Cup with 14 points with Mexico. So, guys, thanks again, though, for tuning in. If you're new, hit that subscription button. And if you liked what I said, give it a big thumbs up. And until next video, I'm out.